so this is going to be our demo of Chapter 5's Tutorial 5.1. So to do that, we are going to turn to page 239 of the book, where we are creating a SQL Server Express database. Go to step 1, create a new Windows Forms project name, Repair Services. File new Windows, file new project. What type of project? We want Visual Basic, Windows, Windows Form. They said to call this Repair Services, Repair Services. I'm going to add demo to mine just to be different. Then I'm going to step 2, open the Server Explorer. I already have it open. If I didn't have it open, I'd go to Windows, Server Explorer. That would open it up for me. And then from there, I'm going to right-click on Data Connections and say Create New SQL Server Database. The name, now in the book they mentioned your machine name, which my machine name is DSA something another 795, I think. So your machine name will be different, whatever your local machine name is, /SQL Express. That's the old version of SQL Express. I'm going to use the new one. That's what I have installed. I don't have this old one installed. So to use the new one, instead of using this notation, or by the way, you can also use a dot instead of your local machine name. It's the same thing. It's kind of an alias. But instead of using this notation, I'm going to use the local DB. That's the new version of SQL Express. So I'm going to use this notation. And another alternative would be this. So you'll see either one of these will work. Let's grab the first one. That's my latest version of SQL Express. The name is going to be Repair Services. From step 3, I think they tell us that. We'll say OK. So I did this earlier and now it's crying that there's already one there. Alright, we'll call this one Demo, just to differentiate from the one I did earlier. Now we have a new SQL Server database. And in step 4, they want us to expand the entries under the Repair Services DBO entry. So that's this guy, Repair Services.dbo. Remember I added the word demo. So I've expanded that. And then under the tables, I'm going to right click. I'm on step 4 on page 240 and add new table. So let's add new table. And this displays the table editor where I can create a new table in my new SQL Server database. So here in the editor, you'll see I've got a couple different windows. This is the GUI, the graphical user interface. This is the actual T-SQL that it's going to generate for me that'll run against SQL Server when I update the database. You can use either one, right? So I can come down here and give it a name. What do they want us to call this one? Step 5 has us adding the columns. Let's follow the steps. So in step 5, under the column name heading, I'm going to insert the database name columns shown in the figure. So it looks like cust ID, name, and phone. So this is cust ID, name, and phone. The data types are small int, so small integer, and varchar 50, so it's a string up to 50 characters, variable, and then another n varchar 30. So we know this one, the phone number is not going to exceed 30 characters. So n varchar, and then we'll adjust that to say, we know you're not going to be 50, you only go up to 30. So variable character. The N stands for Unicode, so it can include both English characters as well as international characters. Alright, so we've got our columns, we've got our column descriptions. It looks like we're not allowing this to be null, so this is a required field. So ID and name are required, but phone number is optional. That's why it's checked off to allow nulls. Finally, we'll say we will close the designer. Do we want want to say yes. We'll call this what? Customers. Save. Now that saved the SQL, but it didn't update the database. I've skipped a step here somewhere. Let's go back, because if I open this guy up, you'll see there's no tables. So the step that they're missing is step 6. You were supposed to be prompted. Well, we were prompted for the name, but we didn't get prompted to update the database. So let me go back and bring that back up. Well, we'll just do that again. So let me add new table. Again, it was cust ID, small int, name, and varchar 50 required, and phone, and varchar 50 or 30 not required. All right, give it a name. We're going to call it customers. And the step they've skipped in the book is that we want to update the database. So we'll update the database. That's going to then send, I click update database again, that's actually going to then send our commands, our SQL commands down here to SQL. You'll see down here that it's actually executing. Once the update completes successfully, we can come in here and we can do a refresh, and there's our table, customers table. There's no data in there. If we right click and we say show table data, it's empty. But here is where we could actually start filling the data in, right? Maybe we've got one customer who's Joe, he doesn't have a phone number. Customer 2 is Dave, he's at 555-1212. Now I actually have some data. I can close this window, go back, show table data, and now I've got some data in my newly created database, in my newly created SQL Server database, or my new table in my new database. So hopefully this helps.